Last time we just had a broad overview about the Indian Constitution, not a particularly Indian Constitution, how a constitution is made, for what purpose a constitution is made, how a constitution is made, particularly a constitution like ours. And we all last time somewhat reached a point where we said the people of India, or the people of a particular country, they are the deciding authority in a democracy. It is not like a particular individual, whoever it is not a hereditary right, like a king and son of the king, and so on and so forth. So that system is basically a sort of an autocratic system, not sort of, it is an autocratic system. But whereas in a democratic setup, the rulers are elected by the people, the citizens basically, so citizens of that country, because we may have, some Americans will also be staying in our country. They are also coming under the category of people of living in our country. But the citizens are having a special status that they have the decision-making authority so far as that particular country is concerned. We know that there are, because you might have heard about the Pondicherry. Pondicherry, I think many of you might have heard about a place called Pondicherry. Pondicherry was a French colony earlier. Colony, you all know that what is a colony means. Earlier, the colonial powers like France, they had a lot of countries under their authority, and Britain, they had a lot of countries their authorities. So those countries under Britain's authority, they were called Commonwealth countries later on. Like India was under the command of Britain. Like Australia was under the command of Britain. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, all these places were under the command of Britain. And British superpower, we know that East India Company, which was only British superpower, controlled so many countries. So when they got independence from Britain, they all formed an association. It's called Commonwealth. So these countries are basically called Commonwealth countries, and the great benefit got by these Commonwealth countries, though all these countries were exploited by Great Britain, all those treasures were taken to Britain. They all got one important benefit, that is English language. So most of these countries like India, we know that we have 22 official languages. There is no official language per se. We may think that national language. We don't have a national language. India has no national language. We have 22 official languages. They're all official languages. And as a linked language, we use English. High Court and Supreme Court, the official language, I'm just giving you information. I'll come to the topic later. Just bare intro. The High Court, the official language is English. And Supreme Court also, the official language is English. But some of the high courts in India, they come out with Hindi judgments. So there is a rule in the High Court that the High Court by itself should translate that Hindi judgment into English and give it to the people. So the greatest advantage we had because of this British rule, though we were really exploited thoroughly, the greatest advantage, one advantage we got is basically the English language. So that is a reason why we could speak, like a Keralite could converse with a Kashmiri. Earlier it was Kashmiri people, they were only speaking Kashmir. And Hindi, of course, certain people now, the television channels and a lot of Hindi cinemas, music, etc. The people are started talking learning, like, those people who have never learned Hindi in our own villages, in Kerala villages particularly, people understand Hindi movies because they watch Hindi movies. So, of course, the spread of language is happening very fast. But India, when the British, before the British, the history of the British came. I will look into that aspect separately. But the British came not to rule India initially. They came here just to do business. Like, so many Keralites Indians are going to Dubai, Indians are going to all the Gulf countries, America, etc. Just imagine one Indian family or certain Indians are going to a particular country and establishing a company. Okay, after some time, the company is becoming richer and richer and richer. Company is getting companies amassing lot of properties. Company is, company is becoming the owner, amassing, I don't know, the company is becoming the owner of large amount of properties. So they need forces to protect those properties. Like East India Company, it was only East India Company. The company's name was just East India Company. East India Company was set up and they came to India to do business. And here they flourished like anything. They got a lot of properties and they started, expanding their reach and range in the sense that they started controlling the local people here. They started controlling the local kings. And finally, the British government said, enough is enough. You people are out. And you people have become so big and you are running like a parallel government in India. So we are going to take over your company and we are going to run the company's affairs. So henceforth, there is no company, British kingdom. At that point of time, the British started ruling the country directly. And that period went on for 200 years. And we all know that our independence struggle took place. And during the course of independence, particularly after the World War II, most of these countries who participated in the World War, like US, Germany, Britain, all this, Japan, China, all these people, Russia, all those countries participated in the World War. They lost heavily. They were not in a position to control the countries they were holding together earlier. Like, most of these countries, like France had a lot of countries under its command. Britain had many countries like India, Bangladesh, all this, not Bangladesh, in Bangladesh happened subsequently. There's so many countries under the command, like Ghana in Africa, so many places. They started losing the control, the central command, like Britain sitting there in London and controlling the entire world. That situation started changing because they lost power, money, machinery, everything in the World War process. So that grip, they lost the grip over all these countries. So what they were also, then at the same time, all these places where these people were ruling, they also started fighting against these British people, wherever they were controlling. So India also, that fight went on. So India also started fighting for our freedom, and that is Indian freedom movement. And as part of this freedom movement, it was almost certain that by 1930, 1940, particularly 1930, 32, it was almost certain that these guys, particularly the British people, will have to leave India within 15, 20 years. Okay, that's it. That was the situation. Earlier in 1900 or 1905, 1910, 1914, 15, 16, during the period of World War, First World War, it was huge power. Britain was a huge power. But on the verge, by 1930, 35, the signal was so clear that British people could not, or Britain could not control us forever, and they will have to leave at least coming 20 years or 25 years. So by the time India also, the political movement developed, like, in Indian country, the political movement, please don't think that it's a separate political movement. Of course, it has got its own character. Political movements or the politicians, political parties, we now these days, no, politics. I don't look at politics. I really hate politics. See, many of our people, friends, they say that we hate politics. We don't get into politics. I'm looking at a job. I just want to be somebody in my life. So that was not the thought process. And last time I suggested that sort of people were there in 1935 and 40s also, because there were a lot of people, because they were servants of Britain. You know how the British people ruled India? British people, they came from England. So particularly the white people, they were less in number. They were not many people who are coming to controlling India. They were comparatively very less when Indian population is concerned. So they ruled, their officers, their generals, their military power, their every machinery which they used to control Indian population. They were all Indians. So you have to understand that the true patriotic people, they were fighting a freedom struggle, and at the same time, the Britain was controlling us by using our own people. That is a very interesting part. So this, I'm sorry. So this, interestingly, our own enemies were from our own society. That you have to understand. See, it is not the case that one side it is all intense, and other side only a few white people and they controlled us. They can, nobody can control. An external force cannot control us unless internally we support them. So unfortunately, the vast majority of that very highly educated, rich, career-oriented people of that during the freedom movement, they sided with Britain. And they were the military officers. They were the people, you know that Bhagat Singh, all those people, they were all brutally, killed and attacked, many of the freedom fighters by British, English, Indian people. And they were serving every month, they were getting salary from British India. Okay, a British government, they were getting salary. So they are getting salary from our own resources and fighting against our own people. That's how it happened. In 1935 and 40, and it went on. And by 1945, it was World War was over, Second World War was over. And ultimately, it was decided that India should be given freedom. We can no longer control this vast country by sitting in London, and India, the internal resistance movements, particularly the freedom struggle movement, became more powerful, and British could not control by using even their own power to control the freedom struggle movement. So 1945, there are history, which I will come to know, cabinet mission, there are, you might be learning it about later on. And the British government decided, okay, let us give independence to India. So what sort of an India is going to be created? That was a big issue. So at that point of time, there was only one India. There was no Bangladesh. There was no Pakistan. There was no Balochistan. Of course, Balochistan is not a separate country. So no Pakistan, no Bangladesh, India. All these were a united area, united territorial place. So there were huge arguments between Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the leader of Muslim League, a party at that point of time, and other side, the Congress, Indian National Congress, and so many other left political parties like Communist Party of India, and there are a lot of socialist parties. Many political forces were also part of the Indian freedom struggle. But the decision maker was basically Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, all those Rajendra Prasad, they were all decision makers. Mahatma Gandhi was also very actively a participant in the freedom movement till 1945, around 46. After that, he said, of course, now almost they decided to give us freedom. So I'm withdrawing from the active politics, which is related to power or who is ruling, etc. Gandhiji said, sorry, I'm not interested in becoming prime minister or someone, etc. So I got my own business. So you people decide about the administrative issues, how the country should be ruled. So at that point of time, you know that India, the whole concept of India came to us by advent of this British people. Till now, we know that we had thousands of rajas, tunes, like, Kerala, even Trivandrum, the Raja who was controlling the Travancore, particularly when you look at Trivandrum, they were not good with the rulers. And of course, later on, they have always fight. They were not good with the king in Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, Nizam of Andhra Pradesh, the Sultan, Nizam of Andhra Pradesh, was not good in terms with many of other Rajas. So many Rajas in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, they were all fighting each other, and they had their own small countries. So small, about 40 kilometers or 50 kilometers square, 50 square kilometers place. So every like small Dubai like place, or a very small in our own. When you look at it, we have our own districts in Kerala, or sometimes a taluk size or a district, a size of a district, a raja of a size of a district. So we had about more than 1,000 small rajas, and they were all fighting against each other, not based on any language or a religion, like Hindu Raja fighting against Muslim, or Muslim Raja fighting against some Buddhist Raja or a Sikh Raja, not based on that, because everybody wanted to attack each other for property, for money. Who is going to be big? Who is going to be more powerful? So many Muslim sultans, they attacked the neighboring Muslim ruler. A Muslim ruler used to attack the neighboring Muslim ruler. A Muslim ruler used to attack a Hindu ruler. A Hindu ruler used to attack another Hindu ruler. So it happened continuously, and they were all having small provinces in India at that time. So British people, they decided to leave the country. So at that point of time, India, so many places were directly under the control of British kingdom. And at the same time, so many other places were not directly administered by the British kingdom, like Travancore. Look at Travancore. We know that Maharaja of Travancore. Maharaja of Travancore was a Maharaja till we are getting independence. So what happened? Maharaja Travancore said, okay, you are the supreme authority. They told the British people, you are the supreme authority. I am ready to accept your authority fully. Please allow me to rule. So Raja is there as a head. At the same time, they accepted the authority, supreme authority of Britain, and they were allowing, but under the rule of Britain. So such rulers were called princely states. Basically, a prince was ruling that particular area. So they were called princely states. Certain people, certain Maharajas or certain rulers, like, you might have heard about Tipu Sultan in history. Tipu Sultan, what he did not accept British as their supreme power. He fought against Britain and finally was killed. So that area was taken over by whom? Britain directly. So there is no Maharaja. There is no Tipu Sultan was controlling that area. Tipu Sultan said, sorry, I will not take the authority from you guys. I'll rule my own fashion. This is my country. Mysore and this area is my country. I will not be your somebody below you. This is my country. He fought against British and he was killed. So what Britain did, there is no Maharaja then. Britain took control of that particular place. So that place was directly came under the control of British kingdom. At the same time, Travancore, I'm just giving you an example. Travancore, what happened? There is a Maharaja of Travancore, supreme authority, Britain. So it was ruled through a Maharaja, like a agent, British agent. Maharaja was there and they were ruling the country. So those states are called princely states in 1946, 1945 period. And those places directly ruled by the Britain, they were called provincial states, provincial governments. So when the British people were about to leave India, two types of administration, two types of states we had, two types of, you can say, states we had. One is princely states by Maharaja, but under the control of Britain. and directly under the control, like, Mysore, they directly brought under Madras, directly under the kingdom and the British kingdom. So under the direct rule of Britain. So at that point of time, we decided to form a constitution. So India is going to get freedom. Everybody agreed. British, the Clement Attlee was the prime minister at that point of time. So he also said, okay, in no more India, we are leaving India to Indians. You decide. Then there were a lot of issues, Muslim-dominated area, particularly led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, said, look, when you form a big kingdom like this, Muslims will be a minority. So we don't want to be a minority. We want to have our own majority area. And he said, we need Pakistan. So those people who are interested, particularly those area where dominant population was Muslims, that area became Pakistan. At the same time, there were a lot of Muslim freedom fighters, like you might have heard about Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Khan Abdul Jafar Khan, Frontier Gandhi, we call him. So there were towering freedom fighters from the Muslim community. They said, look, we are not believing in a country based on religion. It is wrong. We believe in democracy, so we don't want to be part of any religion-based country. And India is a separate country where there will not be any official religion for the state. Pakistan, of course, it's a Muslim country. Be with your Pakistan. Muhammad Ali, this Maulana Azad said, sorry, I'm not going to be with your Pakistan business. I just want to be with part of India, which is an independent country where all religions are treated equal. So those towering Muslim leaders, they all stood with India, and India, they decided to have two countries. They decided to divide India into two countries. One is Pakistan, other one is India. Then we got India. When we got India, on what basis we will rule India? Because then there is no constitution. Earlier, the British constitution, when it was directly under the control of Britain, then we had this British constitution. There were a lot of other rules and regulations by Britain. So most of these rules, laws were made by Britain. Why those laws are made? Not for Indians. How to control India and how to control India in a better manner, suitable to the interest of British people. So those laws are made only to protect the British interest in India. So we need to have our own laws. We can no longer follow British laws. So how to form a constitution? Then said 5 people cannot sit, or those people who participate in the freedom struggle, they can't, 5-6 people can sit in a room and start making the constitution. That is not possible, because quite unfair. Because these 5 people or 10 people can't claim that we are the representatives of India, or we know what Indians want, so we will make the constitution for you. That is not suitable for a democracy. So those people who are making the constitution, they should also be democratically elected. Otherwise, 5, 6, 7 people would be making our Indian constitution, which may not be correct. So they decided, okay, let us have an election in India. At that point of time, we said, okay, we will make an assembly. We will elect about 400 plus people, 390. Basically, I just tell you, I don't exact number. About 389. About 389 members. We will elect about. What we do is all these princely states are there, provincial states are there. So what we do is we elect people from this area, like one vote for 10 lakh people, one vote, like that. As per the population and as per these princely states as provincial states, what we do is we look at the whole of India, decided to be part of India territory, and we will elect a set of people, and they will sit and draft constitution. So elections took place, and the people, like in our assembly, our normal election process, people started contested, where people started, they participate in the election. and many people won. So those people won for what? They were elected, and their only aim is to draft a constitution. So that assembly is called Constituent Assembly. Like, we know that members of Legislative Assembly, we know MLA, members of Parliament, we have. So there was, in the history of India, there was a separate assembly, elected members, about 396 members, they formed an assembly. And their business was to draft a constitution. So constitution drafting is also a big task. There should be some people, drafting committee who they formed. See, just like a work division. You are forming a small, so you wanted to conduct small program or something. Then you make different people. Okay, one person will take care of the sound system. One person will be inviting the guest, etc., etc. You divide your work. So like that, this assembly, they divided their work. Okay, let us have a set of people for drafting the constitution. Somebody will look into certain other interests, etc., culture, etc., all these interests, because Indian constitution should be a complete constitution looking into the interest of each and every Indian. Nobody should feel tomorrow, look, my interest is not protected by Indian constitution. So that particular constitution should be satisfying everybody. Unfortunately, we got freedom only in the year 1947. By the time we had a successful democracies like Britain, of course, it is a kingdom, at the same time it was a democracy, election was there. Like United States, they had a very good constitution, and the Canada, Australia, because they got freedom before. So they also formed Japanese constitution. They all had their own constitution. So basically you people are copy paste for the, like that. We also got a lot of good elements of so many of these constitutions. Japanese constitution, French constitution, American constitution, Netherlands constitution, Canadian constitution. So what our drafting committee people, they looked into all these constitutions. And they said, okay, these are the best provisions for a democratic country, because democracy is also not that familiar for us, because we were controlled by British people, they were controlled by the kings and queens. So democracy was quite not familiar. We were not a democratic country at all. So whenever we wanted to make our country ruled by ourselves, then we have to look at those countries which are governed by democracy. So what we did, we copied many elements and brought whatever good in those countries, and whatever thing which is quite intense as per the aspirations of India. It is not the case that everything we copied from them. Certain principles we copied, because India as a as a geographical area, and the people, they also believed in a lot of based on our civilization, we had lot of experiences. So the constitution makers also thought of, let us incorporate these experiences. As a country, we had a long history. So we fought for 200 years against Britain. So by way of this constant fighting, by uniting all these people, we also developed a lot of good things over a period of time. So let us incorporate all these things and make a beautiful constitution. And that's how our Constituent Assembly, these people, they sat for about 3 years. They're minus 14 days. So about 3 years they sat. Like when I'm talking about Article 14, weeks and weeks, they discuss about Article 14. Or when I'm talking about any article, Article 14, which I mentioned, that Article 14 talks about equality before law, or all citizens are equal. So when Article 14, we talk about Article 14, there were deliberations and deliberations, there were discussions and discussions. What should be, Article 14 only, just small, you might be seeing 2-3 sentences, but to draft that, they discuss and discuss and discuss, each and every word was discussed. Like that, at that point of time, we had about 395 articles. Now, of course, Constitution is subject to a lot of amendments, but main article remaining 395, but about 400 plus articles we have now, 450 plus articles. So, because more than 100 times our Constitution, we amended our Constitution. Not drastically, cosmetically, here and there we amended the Constitution. So, finally, we got a Constitution. So that is how, of course, we can talk at length about this formation of the Constitution, what are the things we adopted from those countries, like what we took it from Japanese Constitution, what we have taken from American Constitution, that we can dissect, we can look into, analyze the Constitution and see that which are the portions we have taken from here and there. But finally, after a huge task, we got the Constitution. So today I'm talking about the preamble of the Constitution. So people may think that, okay, let us write a preamble first, then we start Constitution. That was not the case. The Constitution drafting business went on. Then people should have a guidance, because when we are drafting something, there should be some sort of a focus. Otherwise, all kinds of things will come into this drafting business. So Jawaharlal Nehru presented a resolution in 1947. Jawaharlal Nehru said, see, the country we are making, these are the aspirations of our people. These are the wishes of our people. So he made a resolution. He made a presentation. Look, largely, these should be our objects. So that was called an objective resolution. So it is called as objective resolution presented by Jawaharlal Nehru when you look at the Constitution. So Nehru thought, okay, look at friends, we are going to have a Constitution for a free India. So let us be focused on what we are going to do. So I'm just presenting certain things, which broadly, this should be, to achieve this should be our aim. So whenever we are making this Constitution, this broad objects, this is what we need to have. So that direction is there when people are drafting something, when they're writing something, that direction is there, that focus is there. Okay, we have to reach this level. For that purpose, we need to have such and such provisions in the Constitution. So during that process, what they did, they formed the objective resolution was filed, presented by Jawaharlal Nehru, and finally, when the Constitution was enacted on November 26, 1949, and it was enacted, yes, we got a preamble. So preamble means that introductory words of the Constitution. We can say that that is the essence of the Constitution. That is a sum and substance of the Constitution, or that is a soul of the Constitution, or that is a sum total of the Constitution. Preamble is basically what a key to the Constitution. When you read, see, we have it's a 395 at that point of time. 395 articles is huge text, but no need to read each and every aspects of it. By reading few sentences, by looking at certain words, anybody could guess what the Constitution stands for. So this is our Constitution. So what should be the Constitution? What should be the aim by this Constitution, and what sort of a country Indians are going to get is also written in that Constitution. So as I said earlier, last occasion, the preamble need not contain everything. It is not an encyclopedia. It is not, it need not be an encyclopedia or a Wikipedia as we call today. It need not be. It need not contain each and everything what we need to do in this country. But that is the essence of the Constitution. And by looking at certain things, last time I mentioned that, lift, somebody wanted to spit, then though it is not written, still said, no, this is the rule and this can only be the rule, though it was not written in the bylaws of the apartment. Likewise, preamble or Indian Constitution, so many things are still unwritten. But when you look at the preamble, that is the essence of the Constitution, and those unwritten things which may we discuss tomorrow, which we find out tomorrow, should also be matching with this preamble. So the music, preamble is sort of a music. It has got a rhythm. So you can have certain, which is not matching with, you can have certain raga, which is not matching with the particular raga. We are composing a music. When we are composing a music, music is composed based on certain ragas. You might be knowing about it. So you can't have, the ragas should go, it should get along. It should, whenever you are bringing certain things, that should be in a particular raga. It has got a rhythm. It has got a frequency. There should not be any, the frequency should be very, very smooth and moving forward very smoothly. So that frequency is mentioned in the Constitution. That preamble is sort of a raga. So you can't bring in unknown, a foreign something which is totally destroying the taste of that music, the acceptability of it, or where we can enjoy the music. So the preamble is the key to the Constitution, as I mentioned it. So let us see what this Constitution and what our preamble is. So whoever is living in India, we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into, again highlighted, a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all citizens justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. So these are the highlights here. We, the people of India, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Please come to the next slide. So I'm making this, so I'm making this preamble into 3 parts to understand it better now. So let us make the first part, that is to all its citizens. Second part, fraternity, integrity of the nation. And the third part is in our Constituent Assembly. So let us go to the first part. So we call it as an objective. So what was the objective of our decision constitution makers? Basically, we the people of India. We the people of India means the representatives of people. Okay, the constitution was made, as I mentioned, that representatives of people. So they are because at that point of time, all the people cannot sit together and draft a constitution. So that is possible only by a democratic process. Everybody will have to select a person as the representative, and they all sat together. So basically the representative of the people. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute, I mentioned that Nehru presented an object, focus. So when you are, Nehru told everybody, look, when you are drafting something, let us make our country a sovereign, a socialist. Socialist I'll come to later. So a socialist and secular democratic republic. So Nehru said, let us make our country a sovereign democratic republic. Okay, so at that point of time, because socialist and secular, we added in 1976. But so many people said, like when the constitution was not made, socialist and secular, these 2 words were not there. Again, I mentioned this flat thing. What is not particularly written, but at the same time, there are so many elements in our constitution which are unwritten, which are inherent into the constitution. It is like a mine. When you mine a gold mine, you see gold. So like that, the preamble, when you look at these words together, it's a family of words. All these words are living in one family. These words cannot live in different families, because all these words have got a similar character. So this socialist and secular is, though it is not written in our constitution, when the constitution was made, that was basically hidden in the constitution. So the parliament, 1976, decided, parliament is also the people, they decided, look, let us identify what is hidden in the constitution, and added these 2 words, socialist and secular. So basically, now as Indians, we all follow the constitution. As the constitution stands as of today, we, the people of India, decided to make India as what? A sovereign. Sovereign means what? Sovereign has got a lot of importance, because till then, India was not a sovereign. India was under the control of a foreign power, British power. So sovereign is a country has got decision-making authority to decide for itself. It is not controlled by an external authority. It is not controlled by a foreign force, or it is not under the colony. It is not under the command of certain other country. We are a free country, independent country. We can decide whatever we wanted to. It's not the case that we can straight away attack our neighboring country. That is not fair, because we are also living in the family of countries. Because we call it as, though we have so many countries, we are all peace-loving people, and it's not the case that all the time we are fighting with our neighbors. We don't fight with our neighbors. So like as a country also, we don't fight with our neighbors. that is also not an accepted standard, or it is not accepted by the other countries as international standard. So a sovereign, I told you, so we want to make India as a sovereign country, thoroughly independent country, not dependent on any other person. Socialist, what do you mean by socialist? Socialist means we won't allow, like, unfortunately, we'll come to that part later. Unfortunately, the socialist means, see, there are, in a society, we have got rich people, we have got poor people. When we move forward, after 5 years, that suppose we have got 100% wealth, the 99% of wealth should not be controlled by 2 persons. And only 1% is left to 99% or 98%. 2 persons are controlling what? The 98%, and rest is controlled by that remaining 2 persons. That should not be a country. We should have a country, we should have a set of people where living standards of everybody should be almost similar. We are not saying that everybody should have, okay, one person should have 100 rupees, the other person also should have 100 rupees, the third person should also have 100 rupees. It's not so. Whenever we move forward to achieve our goal, our society should not have inequality. Our society should not feel that, okay, such and such person is exploiting us because he has got more money and he's accumulating more and more, and at the same time I am becoming poor and poor. So that is basically the rich robbing the poor. That should not be a situation. There should be equal opportunity, that we should have a better society where everybody have got their own, they get education, healthcare, housing, a better food, water. India has got a lot of resources, every country has got a lot of resources. So these resources should be somewhat equally distributed among our people. Then only we can have, basically, the entire idea of our nation is to make a society where everybody is having a decent living. It is not the case that, out of 100 people, 2 persons are enjoying the entire wealth of the country and other people are really struggling to survive. That should not be a situation. So we should equitably distribute our wealth. That is called a socialist philosophy. It's not something like, Marxism or Leninism or Gandhism or something. So many, we know that, a lot of ideologies we might be reading about a lot of ideologies. But what we minimum record in our society is that our resources should be somewhat equally distributed in our society, so that everybody is happy, everybody has got a decent standard of living. Whether we have that standard of living or not, that we need to look at the last 75 years and see that to what extent we have achieved. We have the economic, the graphs, etc. We have got entire data, how we progressed, how many people came out of the poverty line, how many people went down, how many people became so rich, or whether our wealth is concentrated in the hands of few people, or whether entire wealth is distributed among ourselves, etc. These are basically, as a citizen, we need to study. We need to objectively study based on statistics. It is not like that somebody has got a paid channel, somebody is sat there to, to look at the interest of someone else, and he talks, okay, India has become a socialist country, or Indian people have got everything today. It's not something somebody is saying. It's a empirical study. It's a study based on, it's a scientific study. The economics, how we progressed. We have to look at 1947 and we have to look at the figures of 2021 and see how many people got houses, how many people are really suffering, even suffering for fresh water, or how many people are getting health care. Our standard has gone down or not? How many people are getting education? why other countries are taking only 15 years to get education for everybody, why our country is still not fully educated. When certain countries are getting, everybody got housings, free housings or decent housing, why our country people are not getting, are not having housing even now? How people are not getting fresh water? That is a basic thing which we require. So in this 1.3 billion people, why after all these years, we are not having that fresh water for so many of our people? Why we are not getting medicines? We have seen during the COVID period, many people are not getting medicines. Hospital facilities are not there. So we have to see whether our growth pattern was right or what was wrong with our wrong growth style. Whether there is something wrong with our administration or we administered ourselves. It is not like a foreign country ruling ourselves. So we, our own representatives are ruling us. So we need to look at very objectively, based on data, based on figures and facts, whether we have progressed or whether we have gone back, or that is what we need to look at it. That is what every citizen is supposed to do in a society, because we have a duty to our own society and we are the people who are ruling this country. So it is not given to some few people and say that, look, this is your business to rule us and I'm not in this. I'm into my own, I'm so busy, I don't have any time for this sort of facts and figures. I'll read something which I am available in my own WhatsApp messages, etc. That can't be a situation. People will have different interests. Suppose I'm an industrialist and I'm making medicines. So I'm making medicines, and which is necessary for poor people, for the basic fever, for a fever or a normal medicine, diarrhea. I'm making medicine. What would be the objective of this person? This person say, oh, look, let there be maximum number of diarrhea cases. So then I can sell maximum number of medicine, maximum number of tablets or whatever, so and so, so and so. So we need to see that whether that is a system existing and what we are doing. Okay, so this is something to do with the planning. This is something to do with where people are saying that it is not the business of the government to make diarrhea medicine. It is not the business of the government to do something which other private business people, they should be allowed to do business. What will happen when people are into business? They will only look at profit. Is it profit making a bad thing? Nothing. Profit making is not bad. Profit making is, according to me, profit making should be there. The tendency should be there to make profit. But what the government should always look at is, when you are making profit, are you exploiting someone and making profit? That should not be there. So that's what I mentioned. A person who is making diarrhea medicine, what he does, he may create a situation where somebody wanted to create more and more hospitals, or somebody is teaching, look, you should drink clean water, or clean drinking water solution. Somebody is into that business. But this industrialist, what he will do? No, please don't provide clean drinking water to everybody. If you're providing, I'm stopped. My business is gone. There won't be diarrhea, and I'll have to close down my factory. What does it mean? That means I am making profit out of misery of somebody. I'm making profit by tweaking or twisting, by interfering in a normal process of administration. And I'm twisting the administration for my own benefit. So that sort of exploitative business standard should not be there. Then only we will have a proper ethical business, ethical sort of standard in the society. Then only we can progress. When people are not having diseases, we'll have healthy individuals. They will be in a position to study. They'll be in a position to work. People are working means country is making more wealth. More wealth means people are it is distributed to the people, if that is the system. So that is what socialist method will discuss more into it. But for the time being, you have to understand that socialist is a system where government has got certain responsibility to see that this private business people or are not exploiting people, or rich people are not exploiting the poor, and government should always interfere wherever there is this exploitation happens and remedy that situation. So that is what Indian socialism at that point of time, we called it as democratic socialism. That is what the socialism we accepted by a lot of, whatever we developed as a socialist concept during our freedom movement. Socialism has got its own various derivatives, various divisions. We are not discussing about it. We are discussing socialism in Indian context, what is meant by an Indian socialism and what we need to achieve by way of this constitution. So basically, some sort of, it is not like everybody has got 100% 100 rupees. It is somewhat non-exploitative, wealth equally distributed, not equally, somewhat equally distributed, non-exploitative, the basic problems of people, basic needs of people are met sort of a system. And the next is secular. Secular also very important because our country, when it was formed, we have Article 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that is all, those articles are talking about religious freedom. Every religion has been given, every religious person has been given freedom to believe, to propagate. You can say that my religion is the best. You can say so, but you can't say that your religion is bad, my religion is best. That is wrong. You can always say that my religion is best. If you believe, if you want to be in my religion, there is no problem, you can be in my religion. But you have no right to say that, look, your religion is bad, my religion is best, please come to me. That is not accepted because India as a state has no official religion. Pakistan had official religion. Pakistan wanted to make religion as their official, Muslim religion as official religion. But India said, sorry, India is a country of Muslims, as I mentioned earlier, that towering Muslim freedom fighters, those people who are believing in Islam, they were also part of India. They also stood for India. They said, we don't want a separate country. We want a country where there is no official religion. So those Maulana Abdul Kalam, Maulana Assam like people, they said, okay, we need India, which has no official religion. If those people wanted to be part of Muslim country, they could have gone to Pakistan. They never did it. They said, we need a country where there is no official religion. So secular in Indian context, secular has got different versions. In Europe and all that, secular means anti-religion. There are cases where against religion. It is not so. India secular in Indian context means India officially has no religion at all. Means in official functions, nobody should. Of course, Indian rulers can have their own religion. They can have their own religion. If they want to worship somebody, that is purely their private affair. If they want to go to a mosque, church, or a temple, that is purely a private affair. That too, they should not misuse government machinery. It should be an extremely private visit. It's not a person ruling our country should not say, look, I believe in this religion, all of you should be part of this religion. That is not Indian Constitution talks about. Indian Constitution says, look, we are not patronizing any religion, but you have every right. Whether you are a Sikh, Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, do whatever you want to do. But that should not be part of politics. That should not interfere in somebody else's life. Because suppose if you are forming a party, say, for example, I said, the basic idea of democracy is free and fair elections. What is free and fair elections? I'm standing as a candidate. I'm standing for, I just want to be a member of the parliament. Then I should not say that, look, I'm Buddhist. So those people among you, whoever is a Buddhist, please vote for me. Then that is not democracy. That it is, see, what basis our election should happen, like as I mentioned, 1947, this was the number of people who had education. 2021, this is the data where these many people have got education, these people have not got education. That is an exercise everybody is supposed to do. That is a case where everybody has to introspect. Everybody should look into themselves and look at whether we have achieved something or not, or what went wrong in our policy decisions. Then somebody should stand up in election and say that, look, this is the data available from 1947 to 2021, and these people have not got education because of such and such reasons. Or in the last 75 years, these only 5 people are controlling 90% or 95% of total wealth of our country, and rest of the people are really struggling. Their monthly income is less than this much. Why that happened in all these years? So I am going to better the system. I have the solution. I have an alternative solution. To make the people understand this is a tough task. First of all, those people who are hearing this, they should be educated. Those people who are talking about this, they should also be educated. But what will happen? Suppose if you use your religion, or if you use your caste, I'm a Buddhist, you all Buddhist, please, who are among Buddhist, please vote for me. In a constituency, suppose 90% population, they all belong to Buddhism. They all practice Buddhism. And a Buddhist candidate, a candidate from Buddhism standing up for election, and he says, look, I am a Buddhist. I follow Buddhist. You also following Buddhism. Please vote for me. I am your true representative. Another fellow is there. He is believing in some other religion. He is believing in Saurashtrian religion, or believing in some other religion. Please don't vote for him. We majority people should be, we are the majority, and we should not be controlled by a minority. Please vote for him. So the advantage of what is the advantage of this person? He doesn't need to talk about anything. No data, no growth, no drinking water, nothing of that sort. He is only talking about religion. And just he talks about religion, will it be helpful? No. He has to whip up the passions of these people. Otherwise, these people are sleeping. 90% Buddhist people, they are sleeping. They don't know that one fellow is standing, whether he's a Buddhist or Sikh, Muslim, etc. They may not be knowing about this. So this person will have to whip up the passions of these people. He will have to create certain, in an event management, like an event management, a person may be doing a lot of things to attract you might have seen the shows, what do you call, reality shows. They make all dramas, reality shows. They cry sometimes. They use glycerin and cry to get more likes, to get more attraction. So this fellow may do a lot of tactics. He said, look, I'm a Buddhist. I did this thing for Buddhism. Whenever a Buddhist boy was really struggling, I supported him. Or a Buddhist monastery was attacked by some few people. I went there and I fought against those people who attacked the Buddhist monastery. So what will happen? All these 90 people who were really sleeping, not bothered much about this religion. They used to go to monastery. They were not having any idea. They were just living the religion as extremely private affair. They may get a spirit. Like, a spirit is something else. Like a person who is living in Oman. Imagine a person who is living in Indian living in Oman. Or there will be a tendency, okay, let us unite all Indians. Immediately people can unite because there is a common factor. What? India as a common factor. So there may be differences. They may be belonging to different caste. They may be belong to different religion, etc. But when we go to outside and say that we are Indians, there is a unification factor. So sometimes this unifying factor, this common denominator, unifying factor, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad. You can tweak it, you can twist it, as I said earlier. So you can misuse it, you can abuse this unifying factor. Suppose somebody is dying, somebody is dying, or somebody is suffering, then all these Indians can unite and do something good for that particular person, right? But at the same time, all these Indians are uniting, let us fight against Pakistans, or let us fight against, that is not a positive unification. That is not a positive common factor, because you are uniting for what? You are uniting to attack somebody else, or you are attacking to your own fellow brother citizen, a human being. that is not that is not fair. That sort of unification is not fair. Like as I said here, only for getting votes, if you say that I'm a Buddhist and I'm whipping up their passions, I'm creating a feeling that you're all Buddhist people, I'm also Buddhist, you vote for me, means that is basically what finishing our democracy. What is democracy? Then all these Buddhist people will be controlling us. Everybody will start contesting in the name of Buddhism, and the Buddhist people will come. What is a democracy? Democracy is not the rule of majority. Democracy is basically, it's a rule of majority for whom? For minority. That is interesting, because see, all these 90 people, they can, I said that, all the 90% Buddhist people, they assemble, and if they're taking care of the interest of minority, because taking care of interest of 90% or 90% of people, very easy, because they're all having the same faith, belief, system, language, might be, it's also easy. What is more interesting, we the people of India, that means each and every citizen of this country should be looked after. So the real majority is not by force. See, suppose if you have a huge majority and you are ruling only for majority, then that is not democracy, that is a fascism. We will say that is a separate political theory. So democracy means you are using your democratic power and give an impression to the people, not impression only, to do something for everybody, treating every citizen equally. Because Indian Constitution does not differentiate its citizens. In Indian Constitution does not differentiate its citizens based on religion, based on language, based on race, caste, based on creed, based on color, based on sex. We don't differentiate people. We treat as citizens, only just citizens. We don't see their face, we don't see their color, we don't see their caste. So that is what the Constitution talks about, and that is for what our Constitution stands for, and that is what as a citizen should achieve by being a citizen and being participant in the democratic process. So what is our Constitution talks about? To make India a democratic society, a secular democratic society. So as a citizen, are we in that process? We have to examine that. Every citizen will have to examine. So that is the duty of a citizen. In a Constitution itself, we will study fundamental duties separately. That we'll study separately. But as a citizen, our objective should be to make India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. What do you mean by republic? Again, sort of a sovereignty. Republic means we are deciding for ourselves. It's just we are deciding our own fate. We have our own independent stand. We are not relied upon anybody. Our leaders are elected by people. Like a person is continuing for 5 years, that doesn't mean that he can continue straight away another 5 years or again another 5 years. He can be removed by persons. How a person is removed? By democratic process. Is it by force? No, never. Constitution does not permit that. Constitution only permits through a free and fair elections. So democratic changes can be brought only by way of elections, but not just elections based on some common factor, unnecessarily unifying the people for a negative thing. So if election process, which is free and fair election process, that is also a fundamental feature of our democracy, or the fundamental or basic feature of our Indian Constitution is free and fair election process. And there is a separate chapter and article dealing with our election process in the Constitution itself, because our election commission should be like judiciary. Nobody should have control about election commission. Election commission's business is only to see that elections are happening, not influenced by this caste, creed, or religion, etc. If a candidate is speaking about caste, if a candidate is speaking about religion, if some leader is talking about religion and using religions to get more votes, that is not a democratic activity, or that is not a constitutional activity. that is straight away unconstitutional. So that sort of a constitution is not our constitution. Our constitution is to make our country a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. See, justice, social, economic, and political liberty. Justice, what sort of justice? Social justice, economic justice, and political justice. So justice in preamble itself has got three connotations. Social justice, not just justice. So we read it as justice, social, economic, and political. It is not so. Just social justice, economic justice, and political justice. That is what Constitution talks about. Come next. When we read the preamble, we read liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. It's not so. Liberty of thought, liberty of expression, liberty of belief, liberty of faith, liberty of worship. So each and everything, and it, like again, next slide. So equality of status and equality of opportunity. So these are the things which equality of opportunity, the Constitution talks about it in many articles, status, many articles. Like that, it is a huge subject. Assuring the integrity, dignity of the individual, unity and integrity of the nation. So integrity was added in 1976. Earlier it was unity of the nation.